Alrighty. Oh, volume's pretty high. Hello, folks. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. How's it going? Let's see. Who is here? Hello. Captain Mal. Hello. The Adept. Heya. Randolph the Grey. Hello. Hubert. How's it going, buddy? Oh, Ninewalker has accomplished Operation 66. Executive Order 66. Festus, hello. Sunny, hi. Ru, hola. Frank Ocean, hello and welcome. Mick, hello. 3D Keycap. Fede Feo. I love Diego so much I'm willing to watch a 65 get built. Oh yeah, I imagine. But alas, if it's not a TKL, if it's not a 60%, it's probably a 65, right? Although that said, in the past like year, we've seen like 75s and like full sizes interspersed pretty well. Like, I mean, like a surprising number of them, but definitely a lot more full sizes in the past year. So that was kind of surprising, to be honest. But yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay, I just need to move a few windows here because it's kind of bothering me. S-Woo, hello. Is the Horangi in stock anywhere? I don't think so. Like, I think the people who carried it probably don't have it anymore. I'll check for you. I think there were a few who, let's see, it looks like not prototypist in stock. Looks like not Mama Day. Yeah, I'm assuming no. Definitely not Cafage. KLC? I don't think they do. I think they had some and then sold them already. Yeah, I think they already sold it. Unfortunately. Alright, friends. So, today is kind of funny. You know, we're gonna be building the Qi65 today. And this group buy actually ends I believe tomorrow. I think tomorrow is the end for this group buy, okay? So like it was initially slated to be October 24th, but then it got extended by like one more week and it ends tomorrow. And the thing about it is that so where's the group buy page here? So you know, it ends tomorrow, and basically I was told I was going to be sent the unit to build like sometime in the middle of the month, and so that didn't happen. It just got delayed because I'm assuming shipping delays and also going through different like content creators and stuff like that, right? So like I mean, like Alex built it, Scoop Bar built it, Patty built it, and at the end Unikeys was coordinating all this, right? And so Dashan from Unikeys was like, oh yeah, like you know, like Patty's gonna send you like a tracking number for the build. And I was like, cool. But beforehand, you know, I thought Scoop Bar was gonna send a unit, but you know, I was like, and then he said like, you know, Patty's gonna send you a tracking number. I was like, okay, cool. I guess you know, Patty's going to be the one that sends me her unit that she built. And then between today and like rather yesterday and today, like yesterday night, one of the units, like one of these two units arrived from Scoop Bar, And then a second one arrived today from Patty, and this was in the box. Very cute little clicker with a dice up cap with one of her cool emotes. So we have 2 units. I'm not building both. We're just gonna choose one, like whichever your favorite one is, and go from there. But yeah, funny story is basically it was kind of a little bit of a rush to get everything to me towards the end here, and so end up getting two different units. So I can show you both units in hand. I think this one is built. This one I think was the one that Alex initially built and then went to Patty, and then Patty sent it over to me, and this one is currently built with these wing tree linears on a polypropylene plate. So we have this, I think this is the raw version, because there's no silver. I think they call it raw. So it's raw with what looks like stainless steel for the bottom / mid portion, the part of the weight. So there is this one that's just kind of like silver adjacent for the color, and for the plates we have all the same. We have carbon fiber, we have alu, and we have polypropylene. For the mounting system, it's still all the same for this entire board, which is poron gasket mount, so it's kind of like poron sandwich, right? And the other unit, I believe this is the one that Scoop Bar reviewed not very long ago, is a green unit. So we can kind of choose which one to build today. Retoid, hello! Thanks for the Prime sub. How are you, my friend? How's life? So this one is a very nice, like, kind of like forest green. I think they call it ink green, but it's this nice green color. So we have green, and we have kind of silver adjacent, what they call raw. For 2 colors. So yeah, we can build one of these 2. So not sure which one I want to build, so you guys can help me pick. I don't really have a strong preference, to be honest. But yeah, so I'm not sure. I mean, so basically the question is going neutral or not neutral, essentially, because they're pretty different. I actually kind of went through the trouble of checking all the content, or at least just a list of the content that people have made in the past, and there's so many people who have checked the board out too. Like Alex built this one with the wing tree linears. Captain Sterling built the gray sand one, I think. Keyboard Dad built another unit. Scoop Bar, as I said, built this one with MX Blacks and some HMX, I think. Destin Shang built one with the gray sand one, also with MX Blacks and an HMX switch. Random Keeps built one with an HMX switch and 2 different plates. Unikeys themselves, Dashan from Unikeys also built it with Nixies and a bunch of HMX switches. Bouquet Bob, we also built a green one with HMX. Lunar Stone switches. Yan Studio, so the designer had a showcase with the raw version with MX Blocks, BCPs, and Sarah switches. And then Patty most recently built this raw version as well. So yeah. So kind of a nice mix of different builds over the past month or so, or actually a little longer, because I think there was a R1 version of this, and then this is kind of like the fully revised version from that. And so this kind of has all of the changes that the designer, I believe their name is Ryan rkeebs from Yan Studio, wanted this to be. So yeah. Try it with a deeper switch. Geon Raws. I don't have Geon Raws, but there were a few switches that I was thinking, because there basically were like HMX and MX blacks, and then there was like the wing Q linears essentially. So I had a few switches. I had some Gat yellows. I had some Gateron adjacent switches. These are the Everfree Curry switches. These are also hand lubed. Actually, I went through the trouble of hand lubing these at some point. And then I have some alpacas, kind of different full nylon linears. And then on a board that I can always take out the switches from, I have some MX purples, MX clears, right? MX purples. So those are tactile switches. So we can also try that as well. Gattings, I actually currently don't have. I did use my Gattings on something else and don't have them readily available, unfortunately. So yeah. Green and Gattings, though, sounds kind of nice. But I don't have Gattings readily available at the moment. Unfortunately. But we can pick, you know, like Gat Yellows or Everfreeze. So it looks like people are saying green. So let's do green then. That's fine. If you want to know how this sounds, this is the Wing Tree linear build. Alex tried this out. So if you look at Alex's video of the Qi65, you'll find his video on this. Is this focusing or is this like? Okay, I was just not sure if this was autofocusing or not. Oh no, wait, it's on manual focus. Okay, there we go. Sorry. This my current stream camera, the overhead view one, had I think the cable connecting the main board and the like. So the A6400 has this like flip screen kind of thing. I think the connection between those kind of got borked, and so I can't see. I don't get a feed on the screen, so I kind of like have to like preset it up with the viewfinder and then do the rest sort of like manually beforehand. So that's been a little bit of a pain, but it's okay. Green with either Gat Yellows or alpacas. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if people want something similar to Gattings, I feel like the Gat Yellows probably work best. These already have the gaskets installed from what it seems, so I don't think I'll need this. We have a daughter board. Is that an extra? Yeah, that's just an extra. So I can put those aside. Got the PCB over here, and then we got the 3 different plates. Is that Leo from Keys? Hello. And thank you for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate that. Alright. So let's say green and Gat Yellows tonight. Just kind of keep it simple. What plate should I do on this? There's CF, polypropylene, PP, and alu. Kind of a toss-up of a choice. I'm actually not super sure how this will affect the sound. Gat Yellows are on the more neutral side. They're on the more muted side too. So, if you guys have any choices or preferences on this, I'm happy to hear. So let's say I can do a poll if people would prefer that. So what plate? What plate with Gat Yellows? Alu, PP, carbon fiber. PP is polypropylene. Polypropylene. Aluminium. Okay, you guys can check the poll if you want. if there's no response, then I'll just make a decision. So let's take a quick look at the PCB here. So this is the hot swap PCB. Obviously it was built on before. So we have 7U bottom row fixed, actually. It's completely fixed on the bottom row, so no 625s, no splits, so it's ANSI left shift. We get a choice for a stepped or regular caps lock with a little, has a small LED built into it for an indicator. And then everything else is ANSI essentially. You get this split or regular backspace as well, and then ANSI enter, and then fixed you know, split here down for the shift as well. No FR4, yes, no FR4. There is only these three is the materials I have here. And from the product page, it looks like those are the options offered. Alu, CF, and PP, with Alu half and CF half being options as well. There's no FR4. You know, I've never tried alpacas. It's certainly true that people don't really try alpacas now. Like it's rare. I mean, I feel like since the HMX craze, the long pole craze and stuff, a lot of these full travel linears kind of have fallen off the interest of a lot of enthusiasts. Not to mention, you know, there was a time, you know, they're pretty popular. So definitely don't see them much. Okay, it looks like there's not many votes coming in tonight, so we can sort of just executive vote it if it's pretty low turnout. That's fine. Okay, polypropylene with 2 votes. Okay, so pretty much within the error, so there's no real result there. So let me see actually. 1 alu, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of alu builds before this. We can try the PP actually. Looks like some there's only 2 people who did polypropylene. 3. Random Keeps, Keyboard Dad, and Patty, I believe. As a pre-HMX key boomer, I always like gap blank inks over JWK linears. That's fair. I also tend to like just regular full travel switches. Although, well, so JWK actually kind of depends. I feel like I actually don't mind them that much. Like I do like the combo of some JWK switches with some specific cases and plates. It's just kind of like trial and error too, though. Like I prefer leaving that option open. Because I do find that inks can, you know, same thing, like same old, you know, like they don't always sound great in every single build. Like there's cases in which it sounds a little too like muted, perhaps, and so it just doesn't, you know, really hit. But you know, they do have a nice like kind of like deep typing sound to them. PP with Gat Yellows is leaning towards a Thocky build. I'm not sure. Maybe, but I still can't make the association of Thocky with MX linears, but I guess. But I think this, you know, I feel like people associate Thocky with like foam, so we don't have any foam here, so I can't really say that will be Thocky. I've never gotten inks to sound good. Yeah, they're a little finicky for sure. They do take a little bit of like trying different builds for you to like ascertain what kind of build you want for them. Hot swap or solder? This is hot swap. Okay, let's need to edit the build command. Where is the command list? This will be built with Gateron Yellow milky top switches. They'll be mounted onto a Polypropylene, full plate. Oh yeah, these are lubed. What are they lubed with? 205. Krytox 25G0 with 65 gram springs. And that's that. Okay, exclamation build for that. We'll start and end our Switch journey with Cherry. A lot of people do, yeah. I did, certainly. I don't really stray too far away from a lot of the Cherry builds that I do for myself. Need some stabs. You can get some kind of MX linear thawk with a plastic plate and a buttload of foam. Yeah, that's true. Like, I think especially if you use like P foam and a decent bit of case foam, you get that like thocky sound that people talk about. I don't like plate foam nearly as much because it seems to make it feel a little stiffer than I prefer for builds. So I tend to avoid using plate foam, unless like plate foam can be nice if you have like those like relief cut heavy PCBs, but otherwise, yeah. Hot swap quick build tonight. I actually think the time between hot swap and solder is not that huge for me, at least from my personal experience. It definitely cuts some time, but I don't take that long soldering switches. So, it's actually not that bad. This song is a banger, by the way? Oh yeah, I know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Jedi Buds, hello. I can't even remember the last time I bought non-cherry switches. Yeah, I mean, there's just people like us. Like, I do build with a lot of cherries, so I replenished on a bunch of MX Browns the other week. Cause you know, between builds for some of these showcases and among other things, I have to like get enough switches around to do them. And sometimes also clients request them, so yeah. Okay, let us clip our stabs. Clip the little legs on the cherry stabs, cherry clip ends. Do you mod your cherries, like box, for example? Yeah, of course. So I would say that, you know, out of all the switches out there, for like MX style, Cherry MX is definitely the one that you need to be most careful about modding, like, or it takes the most effort. Like, people will, you know, in my case, I will, you know, lube the springs. I just put them in a little tub and put some like oil, and then just like shake the tub, so just oil the springs, and then I will also do switch films. I'll spring swap, by the way. I forgot to mention that. I spring swap, and those new springs are the ones that go in the tub and get, you know, oiled. And then I will lube the slider as well, the stem. And so, you know, lubing the stem for basically action of the switch, and spring is for, you know, the spring, because I prefer a lighter weight than like MX block is like default. MX block weight is like 78 gram or something like crazy like that. It's pretty heavy. So pretty light. I prefer lighter weights, anywhere between like 55 and 65 is pretty good for me. So always spring swap, always film, and you know, almost always lube. Dude, do you watch a Chainsaw Man movie? No, I have not. I have not watched the Chainsaw Man movie. I've heard people saying it's pretty good. but no, I have not watched it. Films, also recommendations, spring brands, yeah, like films, like you can look up TX Switch films or Swag Keys Switch films, for example. They essentially go in between the top and bottom housing of the Switch to eliminate some of the wobble that exists after you open up a Switch. Basically, there's a little wobble that happens because you're like kind of stretching or opening the plastic, and so it gets a little weaker essentially. So yeah, so Switch films. Recommendation spring brands. I would say personally, I lean towards either using TX or Swackies these days. Although I've tried a lot of different brands, but those two are probably they're easy to stock. Like they're like fairly reliable in terms of getting replenishments, or like to replenish on your supply of springs, and they're pretty reliable quality wise as well. You have a favorite spring? I would say probably a 62 gram TX medium is probably my favorite spring. Just very average, very right in the middle type of spring. Not too heavy, not too light, and kind of like the perfect weight for either linears or tactiles. And it's like regular length, so it's like regular Cherry MX Switch length, like regular spring length, which is I think like 15 millimeters or something like that. And then yeah, kind of just like falls right in the middle. So I enjoy 62 gram TX mediums, probably the ones that I use or have had the most, that I've preferred on like personal builds. Yo, ODM was good. Brother, what are you waiting for? I'm waiting to have time. Do you think I like do these streams and then like also have an evening to like do stuff? I need time. That's what I don't have. Not enough time. And work during the day, come back, or have dinner, and then there's like a few hours left at most. Hang out with Kiwi, hang out with my partner, and then occasionally do these streams, maybe go out for something nice on the weekend. And that's it. Time's up. That's adulting for you. and then you got chores. Like someone's gotta clean, someone's gotta do the laundry, I don't know, do the dishes. Even if it's like loading and unloading a dishwasher, there's just endless number of those things, like things to do. Run to the movies? I will at some point. I need to probably just should book a ticket, to be honest though. I love TX XL62 ever since I tried long springs. I can't go back to M. Oh, long spring only. I mean, I kind of get that. I think people enjoying long springs makes sense because it basically gives that like extra oomph on the return that basically every Switch generally lacks. So it's very distinct and very snappy. So I get it. Long springs are pretty appealing for good reason. I've tried TX long springs too. They're nice. I'm just kind of used to the old school Switch spring. I miss regular work from home. I wish I had more work from home. I feel like I could do more tasks from home. Like I feel like I could do more days work from home, but I only get 1 day work from home a week. So yeah, I mean I can't complain. There's people who straight up don't have work from home because that's not the job they have. Like that's not what they can do. So yeah, I mean yeah, always can be better, but whatever. How long have you been streaming? My first stream was in 2017. No, Wait, yes? No? 2017 or 2018? One of those two. 2018, I think. I think it was January 2018. I think that was my first stream. The neighbor's grass is greener, so I don't touch mine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, I just don't bother thinking too much about it. I've modded before, lube, film, milky yellows, but I've never done the spring swap on any. Why? Because I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough. Oh, well, yeah, so I feel like switch modding is not so much about being knowledgeable, or there's no right or wrong for it. Like, springs at least are cheap, you know, like a pack of springs is at least, you know, $5-6 as opposed to getting a whole batch of switches, which, you know, could be anywhere from, I don't know, what's like a regular price, like $30 for a TKL, all the way up to like more, you know, money for them, right? So it's cheaper to try a bunch of different springs and just try them in a singular switch that you like, and then seeing how you feel about, like, is it snappy, is it responsive, is it not responsive enough, is it too late, that kind of stuff. The easiest thing you can do, like if you're not sure, if without a fully building a thing, is pop them onto a plate, put, you know, spring swap like 5-6 switches, and grab one of your plates for any of your keyboards and just put them on, you know, and put some keycaps on it and just try it out. You know, prop up the plate with some books or whatever, it's fine. You don't have to like build the whole keyboard, you know? You don't have to like do this on the floor, do this on the desk, right? Like you can just prop up the plate a little bit and put some keycaps and put some switches, you know, switches and keycaps, and just try it out. And then you kind of develop a taste for what you start enjoying more. And then you feel a little bit more risk averse, and you start building stuff with new things you've never tried, and then you kind of go from there, and then you kind of develop. So like, I think the key thing about developing a preference is to establishing your frame of reference, which essentially means understanding where your preferences really are from the beginning, and then kind of mapping it out slowly. But it's not rocket science. It's fairly systematic, and it doesn't need to feel complicated. It doesn't need to. It at the end of the day is nothing to do, like, or, you know, numbers are important, but you don't need to worry so much about it. You know, if you like it, if you enjoy it, if you like what you see and what you get, it's good enough. That's it. Yeah, that's where you stop. You stop as soon as you find something that you like. But yeah, don't bother trying to understand all this supposed science. It's like or pseudoscience even. Like, it's almost anecdotal. So you just gotta make your own anecdote and try it out. Obviously, another easy way to try things is go to Meetup or check out somebody else's build. And when you have tried it for yourself, like in person, right? Then you can be like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna replicate that specific thing, and then you kind of try that, and then you go from there. That's how I started too. I initially actually used to type with heavier springs. I used to type with like 78, like 72, and then I tried somebody else's like lighter build, and I was like, this is so much nicer. I was like, why am I forcing myself to type heavier when I don't need to? And I made the switch. Oh, Jedi Buds, thanks for the prime. R2MHD2 after work, my brain's completely fried. Yeah, same. I like, for me, building these keyboards it's a good way for me to like tune my mind off from like work and other responsibilities and other things going on, and just kind of enjoy this like moment doing the builds and like talking about them and stuff. It's a nice outlet. So I appreciate that you come here to watch, and that you know, it's a good way for you to like unwind and just kind of tune out and just relax. Some place like R&D KBD have spring samplers. Yes, there's some people who sell springs and also switch samplers. What was the name of that vendor? Was it Switch Oddities? I think Switch Oddities. There's some people who also sell like the Switch samplers as well. And you know, if you have the ability to pick what Switch, then at least you can maybe do a Switch selection based on just solely the weight, or just solely whether it's you know, obviously like if you're trying to determine like what type of Switch you like better. Like you can try like, oh, you know, tactiles, clickies, linears, that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's people who also sell those, like testers. Like, you know, you don't have to get a tester every time, but yeah. What made you want to stream in the first place? This song. Thanks for the info. I've purchased a ton of Switches. Too many, and I do have a preference now. I still want to just mod my own, especially MX Box and Milkies. Yeah. I mean, just go for it. Like, you know what the thing that people used to do was, before we had a lot of options for like custom springs, essentially. So Milky Yellows, or rather Gateron Yellows, rather. This is before Milky Tops, actually. Before Milky Tops existed, Gateron Yellows came out. You know, they're one of the first switches in the Gateron line in general. Like one of the first of Gateron switches was like the Gateron Black, Gateron Red. You know, they replicated. I mean, well, Gateron was one of the OG cherry replicas, right? They did all the colors that they did. So they did blue, red, brown, black, right? Green, so on, right? And then yellow was something they made, kind of like themselves, right? But it was basically a switch that went in the middle of all those, between red and black. So it was red, yellow, and black, and the weighting on these guys on the GAT yellow springs is about 65 grams. People say it's between 60 and 65, but people started realizing that what they liked about the GAT yellow switch was not just the GAT yellow switch, it was the spring. It has this really nice spring, and people would harvest GAT yellow springs and put them in their MX box. And there were some very, you know, there's some videos out there that people really enjoy, like because they're like, oh, it sounds so nice or whatever, right? Of people who just build with those, people who just build MX box with GAT yellow springs. And you know, that's kind of how people started doing that, right? Like you find two things that you like and you just put them together and see how it goes. You know, like that's essentially what Franken switches are about, right? Like the whole BCP thing. You know, they're like, oh, how do I make a like kale cream loud and clacky type of switch and still have the smoothness of like an alpaca? That's essentially how BCPs were made, right? They're basically like, how do I accomplish a cream, like a kale cream like switch with like this like nice and clacky bottom out that isn't suffering from the problem of having all palm parts, which creates this kind of like more like, I guess, like kind of like more frictiony, like more like leathery sort of texture to it. And so they're like, yeah, just, you know, put like those alpaca or like H1 housings or whatever. Franken switching can get expensive. Franken switching you need to start from stuff that you have. You shouldn't be doing Franken switching for the sake of like spending the money and doing the experimentation. You should start from what you have, and if there is something lacking there, then you can kind of branch out a little bit. But the thing is, by trying with what you have, you'll narrow down some of the options, so it won't be nearly as costly the more you experiment. That said, some people will get very systematic and particular about stuff. They're essentially like the big scientists themselves, and they're like, I won't give up until I try every single combination possible, and they'll like buy a ton to Franken switch and experiment with, which, yes, it gets pretty expensive if you do that. If you're ever in San Jose, there's a Tiny keyboard store. You can try out builds and buy switches. Oh yeah, Tiny does have a physical store. Yes, there are a few people who do have physical stores. I mean, Toronto, what's that store? The Toronto store. They also opened a physical store, right? It was like the folks behind, was it Keybay Tech? But yeah, people have opened some physical stores too, which is kind of cool. But you know, always nice thing is always depending on what part of the world you might live in. Like if you try to find that local community of yours, even if it's maybe maybe if it's a little drive away or a little while away, and you can organize a little meetup. That's always fun too. That's kind of how you start bonding with the community, and that's, to be honest, bonding with the community is the best part of being in the hobby. It's the keyboards are cool, but the hobby is what makes you stay for a long time, which is what happened to me. It was the community that made me stay for a long time. Somebody asked why I started streaming. I think I don't think I answered that question right. Why? So the long story short of that one, long story short is that I had gotten a new keyboard from a group buy, and there were a few people who had enjoyed some of the builds I had done for another friend of mine. So I moved places. I used to be in the DC, Maryland area, and then I moved to New York. And I had built a few keyboards for my friend in that in the DC area, and they had enjoyed some of those builds and stuff. And they're like, well, you're in New York now, and kind of want to see this build that you're gonna do with this new board. And they're like, should we hop on Skype or something? And then Twitch was one of the methods to stream to more than 2 people at once, although the first stream literally had 3 people viewing it. But it was a way to do it, and I just grabbed a webcam, and that was my first build on Twitch. So I actually grew out from a need of wanting to show the process to somebody else using a webcam. And then it kind of stuck because other people were doing it, or the people were starting to do it. This time was around the time when there are very few people. There's Top Clock, there's RME or you. There's very few people. Chubies, and then 01 Anthony. There are a few people who that start doing builds, and then obviously Taya types, right? Nathan, and I enjoyed doing it, so I just kept doing it. Yeah. Right. That's the story of how I started. Rip Skype, pouring one out. Yeah. Do you guys, any of you guys suffered from Azure being down? We had a bunch of services shut off. Kind of a pain, but it was fine. Excuse to not work. The real end game is the friends you made along the way. Yeah, exactly. It really is though. I'm still friends with a bunch of people that I've met this through the meetups and through just bantering on the internet, and then realizing that you're kind of close region-wise and meeting them up. And even if it's driving or taking public transit for a while or whatever, and yeah, you just keep talking. And you check in every so often, and you bond over shit that you get, new stuff that you get or stuff that you don't get. You're I'm over keyboards and I got myself a new bike, or I got into cars or whatever, and you talk about that, and you just kind of keep talking. That's how you bond. That's the good stuff. I think that's the good stuff for community building. So, yeah. Without community, I definitely wouldn't enjoy this hobby as much and just get a single topiary and call it a day. Yeah. That would have been me too. I got an HKB back in the day. Oh. Sorry. Someone needed to pass by. Okay. But yeah. I got an HKB back in the day, in the very beginning when I first went to my first meetups. I kind of told the story many times, and yeah, I'd have called it a day there too. I enjoyed. Well, it took me some time to get adjusted to HKB actually, but I had my Nova Touch, I had my HKB, I had my MX Brown, a reliable MX Brown board, full size, cooler master board that I still liked. And yeah, I could have called it. To be honest, probably should have, but anyway, here we are. Doesn't matter. Would you consider yourself one of the OG keyboard streamers? Technically no. Like, people say I'm kind of OG, but I kind of don't because, so when was Nathan's first stream actually? Teha types Twitch stream. I think he was on YouTube first, and then he did his first stream in like 2018 too. He like did it in 2018, and then but it was like, I think it was after my first stream, but then I actually took a long, like I didn't stream, like I didn't do my first stream and kept streaming regularly. I was in at the time I was in school, and I was really busy, and so I did not stream again for like basically most of that year. Actually, that first year I actually have like a lot of the dates, I think, of my streams. I think, I'm not sure, do I have this here? Do I have all my stream log info here? I'm not sure, but yeah, like I streamed once. It was a Mira SE build, and then I didn't stream for a long time. And in that time, a bunch of people also hopped on, and specifically Nathan kind of became much more active on Twitch because he saw success jumping from YouTube, or rather not jumping, but doing YouTube and then supplementing it with Twitch streams where people really enjoy just seeing him build stuff outside of like his videos. So yeah, I'm not really like, don't really consider myself OG, but people say I am, so it's like whatever. And I don't really care. It's just the moniker. It's whatever. It's just a title, right? It's fine. I'm just like another person. The Miyako keyboard knowledge encyclopedia has forgotten more keyboard information than we'll ever learn. Maybe. I do still remember most things, though. I think I'm pretty good at remembering stuff. Right? I like learning stuff. So, oh, man, the goat song. Yeah, earlier. Yeah, I'm not sure all his VODs there. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, and then there was a lot of stuff deleted from Reddit too at one point. I'm so over keyboards, Nine Walker. I mean, I get it. I mean, to be honest, I'm actually more surprised. I would be more surprised if you said you weren't over keyboards, because in my opinion, the average like hobbyist lifespan, so to speak, is I'd say, COVID aside, I think most people constant engagement in a hobby, 2 years, maybe less even. I mean, for the people who like cycle hobbies a lot, even less, but like 2-3 years max. Longer than that is definitely because something kind of kept you in it, right? Like something keeps you in the hobby, but it's pretty rare. You're only in for the long haul if you're autistic? Oh, so we have found ourselves. Vinky, I see we are more similar than I thought. Well, I mean, we probably are, so. 2026 for sure, I'm sizing down. Is this a surely or surely? Very different. But yeah, I think yeah, most people don't stick around in these hobbies for that long. I mean, it's also like a consumerism sort of like purchasing based hobby, so it can only last so long. I've used the same 5 keywords in 2025. That's a sign, a Nine Walker. That's a sign, dude. That's it. you're ready to stroll down memory lane and walk into the distorted sunset. Except distorted doesn't exist anymore, so walking to a distorted sunset is literally like walking into like a nuclear mushroom. It does not exist anymore. Proof gone. It's like cosmic dust now. So that expression did not it did not age very well. After I get my 21XX, I'm quitting. I've heard people say the I'm quitting, but not everyone does. Not everyone does. But that, again, you know, no one's daring you to. You can do whatever you want. Okay, I should test my stabs. And then keep going. I finally put together my brown owls. It took only a month to lube. Short amount of time. Modding Alps is a pain to some degree. Like, especially, I don't know. Some people are very particular about this. So 1 month, okay. It's short time. I mean, especially if you're just kind of doing it casually. Which 5 made the cut? 2.1 Daji, 500 cm Lily Corn 86U. Wow, that's a banging selection. That's very nice. It's a good selection. I mean, for a lot of people, that's all end game, quote unquote. So yeah. Anyway, keyboard's my first hobby, but I've taken an interest in film simulation photography, so now I'm looking at a Ricoh GR and Fujifilm X100V, like a normie. We have a Ricoh GR3X, and we enjoy it. It's, I mean, I talked about it in my server, but basically what we like about it is that it's portable. That's the best part of it. You can take JPEG straight out of the camera, and it's pretty good. I think for the presets, we have like one for film, one for like Kodachrome type, you know, kind of like works better for like cooler daylight lighting, and then one that works better for like indoor warm lighting. What do you offer the X variant? Oh, we prefer the focal length on that one a little bit more. This is just pure preference on the focal length. My Pro 2 doesn't count as pre-hobby? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I will always have an HKB. For sure. I did my first order, my first custom keyword. I'm so excited. The door to the rabbit hole is open. Oh, nice. That was quick. Wasabix. I remember you came in last time asking questions, and you now have orders out. So that's nice. I hope it's enjoyable. You know, I hope it's fun. That's really what it is. I hope it's fun. Just making sure these switches are properly clipped onto the plate. I was this close from getting a Ricoh GR3X, but I found out the new model is out. Gotta see some reviews on this side. There's always the best time to buy an upgrade is today, I guess, right? Like, there's always something new. So sometimes if you can't bother doing all that, you know, whole review cycling and figuring out what the best of the best is. Honestly, if there's enough people to attest that they enjoyed a certain product out there, right? You know, even if it's older, frankly, can be a bad purchase, right? So many people enjoy it for a long time. So it might be a better deal to actually get the old gen stuff because it'll probably go down in price, perhaps. Not, you know, not always, but a lot of the time for used stuff. If you buy used, if you buy new, maybe different, but still. Thought about a GR3 for an upcoming trip. I figure I wouldn't really be using after. That's fair. Yeah, I think for us, the GR3 essentially serves the purpose of not wanting to take the picture on just a phone and not wanting to carry any of the bigger cameras. Really handy for like events and stuff. Like we've gone to like weddings or like, you know, like random get-togethers or like, you know, just like randomly walking out there, and you don't want to carry anything bigger than that. And you don't want to just like be like, oh, I'm just gonna use my phone for it. The Ricoh has been perfect for that. But yeah, it's I can understand any reason not to get it because it's kind of on the pricey side. I mean, packs a punch for what it is, but it is on the expensive side for what it is too. Like, it's a nice camera, but by no means would I call that cheap. Barebone Essentials 75. WS Morandi. Morandis are nice. Very boring keycaps because in Sweden we don't do cool stuff. Wasabics, you will eventually learn as you traverse through the rabbit hole. I'm gonna say this, but boring goes a longer way. Simplicity is sophistication, is what people would say, right? So I personally say that boring goes a longer way, and there's a reason why the classics are the classics, and you know you'll appreciate once you kind of, you know, you might go through a bunch of stuff and you'll realize then that the flair, the very colorful or like crazy looking stuff is just, yeah, that's just what it is, and you'll come back to the classics, just like people come back to Cherry and Gateron and like the old school switches, or Topre even. You know, people would try Topre first and then they're like, I'm gonna try MX for a bit, and then get back to just using Topre all the time, which is a lot of people. Do you live in New York City? Yes, I am based in New York. I didn't like the Morandis. Too much wobble. Wobble? Really? They had wobble? I don't remember them being wobbly. I do remember trying them in a, I think it was a Zoom 75 back when I built that. I don't remember them being wobbly though, but maybe in a certain context they could be. Boring is the new exciting. Yeah, funnily enough, all these like classic looking sets do have comebacks every few years. People are like, oh, why is there no rerun of like this Wob set or like Beige or Dolge or whatever boring ass looking set? Like the stem is taller or something? I don't know how. Oh. Yes, so it's more common for long pole switches or like anything that has like the shorter travel to feel like wobbly. Yeah. Especially on like modifier keys, like the longer ones, you'll notice on certain, like, you know, on most stabs that it will feel like it seesaws a little bit. So I can see that. But yeah, it's definitely like a feature of like using long pole style switches. What do you press to switch with that tool? Oh, I'm just making sure that it clips properly onto the plate. You know, like it. You know, you see that little like black tab on there? That's like a little clip on the front of the switch, and I'm just making sure that it properly latches onto the plate. It properly holds onto the plate. I mix blacks and alu forever. Wob. I sent a submission. You're someone who builds keyboards with parts given or needs extra parts. Typically parts given. Extra parts. It's usually the responsibility of the person requesting the build to order stuff and then send it out. So usually I build kits, put together kits. So usually people who request builds is people who might be more inexperienced, for example, like doing soldering, or might want help with like lubing stabs, things like that. Usually they send out full builds for that, or like want like the full thing, which involves like lubricating switches and then stabs, like stabilizers, and then putting it all together. But for example, I don't do like custom design boards, for example. And from that I'm trying to say like I don't take requests saying like, oh hey, I want you to make this foldable or uncommon layout board, and I want it to be made out of this dimension, whatever. I don't design, like I don't do computer CAD design and like get boards bespoke made. So I don't do that specifically. There are people who design, like do CAD design, and you can commission them to do a design. Whether they offer the option for you to prototype that design through their contacts, that's kind of up to them. But usually, there's a bunch of overhead for you to pay for that, because you're paying for the labor of designing, and then obviously for the prototyping itself. So I live in New York City and try to make my own keyboard for my best friend, but failed at it completely. Don't know what parts aren't compatible. I was hoping to bring you my mess and see what's needed or missing. And have you built, and if you have built it, is that possible? Yeah. You could always send me, like, we could be in touch, and we could you can send me like a list of parts that you got, and can assess what's not compatible, what's missing. Like maybe you were missing the stabilizers, maybe you put together a part from one kit and then one with another kit, but they're not compatible with each other. So that can happen. People can misunderstand that, because it's true that some, like you see parts for keyboards and you think they're all compatible with each other. So yeah, just reach out to me and I'll be in touch with you. Let me see. I was checking my form earlier. I'm not sure if I missed it. I can check my email. But yeah, just if you know where to reach me. Oh, I see. Oh, okay, I see an email. Okay, sure. Yeah, we can get in touch. I'll get back to you sometime later. So is McTang really coming back? I saw the Skull version. Yeah, it should be rerun pretty soon, right? I think this November. Day of the Dead. What's life like in New York these days? It's like, I mean, for me, it's just life. I mean, I go to work, come back, work life, not much. What's nice about New York is just things to do. There's always a lot, good food, so you can always go out and explore a bit. Okay, so we put together the build. So let's go ahead and put it in the case. So let's see. I'm gonna drink some water. I'm really thirsty. Been talking a lot. Speaking of rerun, debating getting Windbreaker conflicted with Hangelbite coming soon and Mictlan, and there's the ISO GR. Oh, you wanted an ISO GR? ISO GR, sorry. Okay, so how does this open? It looks like we have Interesting. Okay. I'm actually going in blind on this. So I'm just kind of seeing the design for the first time. I did not watch any of the videos. But it looks like we have a key called number 2 kind of style build here, where there are 4 attachment screws on the bottom, or rather middle of the case. So undo these top 4 screws. And then that kind of undoes this bottom half of the board. And then this top half also comes apart from the top screws. So put that over here. I'm gonna just flip this over so that it puts those screws down. So there's 2 longer screws in the back, 2 shorter screws in the front. I just put those in a tray here. So those 4 screws essentially lock this top half and top bottom, kind of like, sort of, let me kind of explain this better. Kind of like that. So there's a top half and a top bottom, or rather, bottom half front and bottom half back, essentially. And then if you flip this over, you find the K screws. So the K screws are here. For that, looks like we require this screwdriver. So go ahead and undo those. Let's do that. I think okay, that came off. Okay, so let's. There's one screw. This one didn't quite come off, I think. Oh, this one didn't quite engage here. Okay. Undo that. And now we should have the top come off. There's our top piece. So now, let me show you what this looks like. So essentially there's a mid piece that kind of holds the daughter board, right? And it's essentially sort of the inner skeleton of the design. And so this piece is made out of a very heavy material. Looks like, is this stainless steel or is it coated something else? Okay, let me just confirm that. Yeah, mid piece can be copper, brass, or stainless steel. So this is stainless steel. So this is stainless steel, and as you can see, it's been sandblasted, and looks like that. So it has kind of these nice horizontal grooves, sort of for acoustic control, like to kind of tune the sound to the designer's preference. Interesting things, it has these little pads. I'm assuming this is to prevent it from bottoming out. So you can kind of see these little gasket pads preventing it from bottoming out. We have these long gasket strips, poron gasket strips. So these are attached, you know, there's 5 here at the bottom, and then 5 here at the top. So essentially a poron gasket sandwich that basically sandwiches the plate and PCB together. And these are kind of covers, essentially. They're just covers at the bottom that get attached with these screws, right? And then there's 4 K screws that attach this mid piece to the top piece to put it all together. So So pretty nice, pretty cool design. Very much in, like, you know, it's definitely has a little bit of that Keycal number 2 style vibe in terms of the way you put it together. So the way this works for these builds is that you gotta put these screws on first because you later screw them on through the top part. Let's see. I totally forgot you were building a keyboard for a sec. Too much yapping. That's why. Dave be clapping cheeks. Hello. Long time no see, I think. I thought about the ISO OGR, but not sure if I'll actually use it much. I have an ISO, like the ISO before the ISO GR thing came out. I have the ISO, the original one, and I just mapped it for like push to talk for a while. I remember back when, especially like in COVID, when like, you know, people were like on VC a lot. I just had it like on push to talk. Convenient. So plug in our JST cable. Make sure our cable's nicely seated in there. And then just, you know, put it on top, and then, you know, basically those screws are gonna be screwed on from above. So you just put the top case, so top and middle case go together first. So now I'm gonna just stand it up like this and screw on one screw at a time, opposite corners, easiest way. Was Gion the first to do acoustic grooves? I don't think so. There were a few people though. There was like, I think Bion also did a lot of that too. I remember Bion doing all those cutouts as well. I think when he was first doing the private runs of the bias, I believe Bion was doing a lot of those grooves. Yeah. So I don't remember. I don't know who the first person is, but I mean, the idea of essentially reducing or expanding the amount of space inside of a case is not completely new. At least that's the philosophy or physics. The idea, at least somewhat pseudoscience-y, but the idea behind that is doing that. Looks like this screw is a little bit. It's a little help to actually screw on. Okay, good. Okay, and then so now the bottom case here has these kind of grooves, right? So that's helping to help the alignment of these pieces. So it's pretty nice. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that they did this. This is actually a very smart design because first, like, I think what I'm liking a lot about the way this is designed is that they did the mid piece design in a way that it ends up being machined flat and into. So in other words, they're not cutting as much from this mid piece. And you see, like this weight, like engraving kind of thing, it you know, it's easier to, like, you know, you work the tool around this, right? But this whole thing is flat, so they don't have to touch this part. They just have to finish it. You know, like, it's easier to cut out these like small things, right? And so it's nice because it's self-aligning with these guys, and the design of this can be pretty complex, but at the same time not increase as much cost. It's very it's pretty good design. So, and yeah, it kind of, like, you know, like, it plays around with the idea of having some negative space in there as at the same time as having like engravings, which is, yeah. So I heard that this is Yan Studio Ryan rkeebs' like first keyboard design. And I was like, for first design, that's mad chops. Thought about it a lot, you know, iterated through it a lot, you know. So it's pretty smart. looks like a Gundam foot from the side. Yeah, it has that kind of like heel, like robot heel vibe for sure. For sure. I'll show the side profile. Like that, it kind of does. Yeah, it has that like foot heel, sort of, because of the bottom piece like this. It's interesting, like a lot of intentional seams and stuff running through the board. Like it's nicely made though. Like they basically just have an angled mid piece that they cut into and essentially adjusted everything to just like the aluminum pieces, just kind of they're just covers for it. They're like shelves. So it's well thought out. And then you can do like little touches, like engravings on the back, like little engraving at the top, like playing with the bezels. Some, not gonna lie, like they thought it through. This has like, it's pretty like angular and the lines are pretty heavy and all that, but it's very intentional. It's very well made. What did I miss? Jane did the little circular cuts in the weight. Yeah, right. Like people have done like alignment pins and things like that. But yeah, it's good to see though. It's good to see little nice quality of life QOL touches. It's always good. All right. So pretty neat case. What keycaps do we put on this bad boy? We have Gateron Yellows, polypropylene, and stainless steel mid. It's a nice. It has some softness to the case that I can feel right now, but it definitely is a little. It's a nice and stiff sandwich, gasket sandwich mount. I mean, I think there is going to be some softness from the poron compression. I don't know what keycaps to put on yet. Not sure. Could be anything. Let me think here. Oh, keycaps. Wob? Yeah, I could do wob. If you really want it, wob. Wob and green is clean. What to choose from? Poll? Oh, you can just name sets. I'll let you know what I don't have, but you can name sets if you want. I do have a bunch, so let me see here. Key sets. Windbreaker. I do have DCS Windbreaker. Boop. Diego, hello. Mr. Kupo, how goes it? Anything but GMK? Oh, wow. Against GMK? Rare. I mean, I have CRP if you want not GMK. BRG? I do have BRG. Do you want BRG? I could do BRG. British Racing Green. Mutagen. You guys are naming sets that did not even exist. All right, it's Tuesday. It's Thursday actually though. Wasabi. Okay, I can do a poll here. Keycap set. Wob, wasabi. What do you say again? What was that other one that you just said? I just like spacing out. Oh, BRG, yeah. BRG. Windbreaker. An odd choice, but why not? Windbreaker. Nuke data. Alright. Or Irish. Ah, yeah, Irish. Alright. But for 65, would that work? I guess I have CRP version of that too. Let's say CRP. I'm just gonna put CRP. I'll choose one of the CRP ones. How's that? So one wild choice, one non-GMK choice, and then 3 GMK choices. One kind of neutral GMK choice, and then 2 that are kind of like more on the nose, which is like green sets. Is Kaiju orange and green? It is orange and green. It's green modifiers, white like legends, but then like the and like alpha base color, but then the pretty sure the legends on the alphas is orange on Kaiju. This is the best Emily song. Alright, go and vote. Go and vote. Vote in the poll. There's a poll in the chat. Please vote. What's that watermelon GMK? I don't have watermelon GMK, but you know. GMK watermelon or whatever else called. Are you ready for the weekend? Yes, I'm ready for the weekend. Kikobo Komodo? I don't have Kikobo Komodo. Sadly. I don't have that many Kikobo sets. Ooh, lots of votes for Wasabi actually, and for CRP. But it looks like CRP is winning here. Good chance of CRP is winning. Alright. CRP it is. Okay. Alright. I can bring a CRP set. I'll be right back, okay? Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I brought CRP R5 Irish. So let's try that out. There's so many keycaps in this set. Okay. I asked for Imsto Irish. Oh, but Imsto doesn't have the compatibility, I think. If I recall correctly. I'm not sure if you remember. There is also CRP should be fine. I actually think the CRP sounds pretty good. Oh, is that that's that song? It's a cover. Yeah, Insto Irish had a bunch of different versions of it too, I think. Like they had like 4 different runs and like 3 of them have like terrible compatibility. It's like TKL 104 or like 104 only type of deal. And then they added like step caps, like, you know, Sangan, right? But it was like a hit or miss if I recall. I remember people got like R4 sets and they still did not have Sangan compatibility. So it's kind of tragic, but yeah, it's just the way the old school sets worked. Kind of a little bit of a lottery in there, despite what you ordered. Came with nice 1800 compat. Oh, that's super nice. Oh, that's great. That's good. That's good. I think I barely made it work for 60 with 7U, but like, yeah. It's a pain in the butt working with these sets, like some of the old Imsto sets. Nonetheless, the CRP one is pretty nice too. The dice up on these sets, it's really good. And I certainly haven't seen. This reminds me a little bit more of that the TA Royal Alpha set, the GMK one with the all white one, or all grayish white, I guess. One. This has that vibe. I mean, this one's kind of like maybe a little bit more like the typewriter set, yeah. I joined Gorp and blanks, Diego. I'm done. Ooh, wait, blanks? Which blanks? What blanks are you talking about? Oh, bowl blanks. Oh, nice. Are you? Do you get those yet? Do you get it on the group buy, or do you get like extras? Oh, tomorrow. Oh, nice. Nice, nice. Can't decide between Windbreaker or Divina Papaya. What the hell is Divina Papaya? I have no idea what that is. Is that a key set? Got the extras back on Monday. Oh, nice. Nice, nice. I mean, you know, this is what they look like. They look nice. They look pretty goose. Divina is kind of like Peppa Bite, but GMK. Ah. I see. I see, I see. Okay, okay, okay. We got our keycaps. Let's put on some accents on this. I don't know how to go about it. Green. Got some green caps. You know, I got this great FN key from Al Hex that I can put here. Put some green stuff. Got this pigeon. Maybe I'll put this. Is this art key? Hope the stem doesn't break or something. Swear to God, these are so fucking tight. Oh, okay. Fine. More green. I got some green over here. Popsy over here. Man, maybe I'll just match the art key. It's also so that the gradient doesn't go away. Diego, any wait, hold on. Hey mister, I see you have cool keycaps above your keyboard. My question is, can you find keycaps like that in Zelda theme? Let me see. Actually, the moment you said Zelda theme, I think Sodi caps might have some in stock, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you can get it from Sodi, but I'm not 100% sure if they still do. I'm scrolling, sorry. I'm like trying to find it for you. You could always try looking on like Etsy, but oh my god, they have so many caps on their store. Zelda. I remember they did these. Was it blanks or something? I guess they don't. Guess they ran out of those. I don't see him here. They used to though, a long time ago, or not that long, but you know, long enough. Yeah, that's the only Zelda theme ones that I can remember off the top of my head. There are these Sodi caps that had it, but you know, if you want to browse like, you know, in stock artisans, there's like stuff like here. Yeah, you also might want to check like, you know, you can check like Etsy, Drop, those places. If you want something like popular IP related, I think a lot of the makers that make some of like the artisans that I have here are not necessarily going to be making like IP adjacent stuff. Like that's not always the case. Sometimes they do, but not always. So it can be a bit of a hit or miss. Diego, any advice on Topper keycaps? The black on black HHKB keycaps are too close to blanks, need something else. Would you swap stems or get Topper caps? So I feel like the next, so the gold standard on MX-ified Topper used to be Novatouch sliders, but they're kind of hard to come by. And now the new best would be Dynacap, which you could probably do. But at least my perspective on it is that you could also see if you could find a white or like the gray HHKB set and replace some of that on it. Some people just do the white set, like the gray white set on black HHKB. It depends. I still think that the peak experience on Topper is OEM parts, but people will disagree on this with me, obviously. I think MX Slider Topper is pretty variable experience-wise. Like some people don't really like it. I personally don't that much. Dynacap was the exception to the rule because when you pair Dynacap sliders and like the Dynacap design stuff, like the housing stuff, you essentially get the ability to use like cherry profile sets, which are kind of similar to OEM Topper, right? You get the ability to use those MX sets on Topper, which is nice, with no interference, especially in the home row side. But because that won't be the case in most cases, I personally would say stick to OEM, but keep your options open. You could also consider getting something like the Ursa sets that they just dropped, literally like just dropped on FK caps, and they're shipping in like a few weeks. So that's another option, but it is different from OEM cylindrical profile. So just you should just note that. All right. So there it is, our Qi65 built up. We can, but yeah, that's my insight on it. I stick to OEM. Otherwise, I don't know how Dynacap sliders only would fit on OEM Topper. I believe they're supposed to be paired with their respective housings, but I'm not sure. Haven't tried yet. There might be some people out there who have prototypes who I might have tried. Yeah. Alright, so here it is. The Qi65. Let's adjust this. Okay, there's our microphone set. All right, just finished soldering USB Type C. Oh yeah, those are a pain. Are you talking about the ones with the tons of pads, like the surface mount? Those are a pain in the ass. I don't like soldering those. So many bridges to worry about. Just a lot of flux, just flux and patience. Lots of flux and patience. Alright, so let's try this out, my friends. This is the Qi65. We have built this with Gateron Yellow milky top switches. We got a polypropylene plate and a stainless steel mid, no foam. And we have CRP Irish for the keycaps. All right. First times it took a bit? Yeah, I understand. All right, let's go. Very nice. Really crispy sounding. Very nice. $69? $69. What's up, Mr. Poner? How's it going? Oh, do you just hit 69 months? Yo, do you guys know that Poner is one of my first? He's one of the founder subs. So that's like one of the first 10 people to sub into my channel. He hit 69 finally. Nice, nice. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Poner, for all your support. You can now effectively retire at 69 months. Hope you're doing well, man. All right, let's take a listen to the mods. Here you go. There it is, 69. I actually kind of feel like CRP was the play on this. It sounds really good. It's a good pairing. A lot of people tend to be kind of scared of using CRP, but it sounds really good in this build. Got yellows and CRP with a plastic plate. It sounds really nice. Sounds really nice. It's very crisp. The typing on this is kind of, it's a fairly like compressed poron gasket kind of mount, like where there's not that much give to the typing. Like it's definitely like a solid typing experience, but it is still gasket mounted, so it does kind of soften the blow a bit. And then you're using a plastic plate, or at least I'm using a plastic plate here, so it doesn't feel that harsh. But I think compared to a lot of other boards that I've seen using poron gasket stuff, that maybe don't compress as much, or just kind of like just have a little bit more give maybe, this definitely doesn't have as much of that. So I would say it's not like bouncy at all. Like it's not, I would not call this board bouncy, but maybe if you use like a half plate, that might be a different story. But it's pretty good, pretty nice board. Will we get recessed stem CRP before GTA 6? Don't ask me, man. Who the fuck knows? Nice muted top out to me. Yeah. Does the spacebar is meh? You think the spacebar is meh on this? I don't mind the spacebar on this. I think it's nice because it's not that it doesn't need to pop too much above the alphas, so I like it. But everyone has preference on this. Some people really like that, like hitting, like bam, bam, bam kind of spacebar. So in those cases, yeah. They sell off my CRPR4. I got like 8 different kits. Damn. Damn. Poner 69, that pornography. Nice. That's a good one. I didn't read it out loud at first in my head. That's a good one. Pornography. I love how there's like these closed captions on my stream, and it definitely says pornography, but alas. Thinking retrospectively, I think CRP-R4 was the height of the hobby. It was pretty popular then, yeah. R4, R3, R4. It was like Syrup Labs, that peak period, right? Can we try GMK spacebar? Yeah, we can. Let me take these off. Yeah, we can try a GMK bar. I think I got a set. I think I have this one from Zooted. I was looking for some keycaps the other day, and I had Zooted out. But it's still green. I don't even mind the CRP floats a bit. I just don't like the spacebar sound. Everyone's different. Yeah, in some builds the spacebar sounds too like thuddy and like kind of heavy. I think I prefer the CRP on this, actually. I actually think this board is more well suited for CRP. Or maybe it's the build. I think it's the combination of these GATs and CRP. I've tried GATs with CRP before, and they tend to sound pretty good. I remember trying GATs on a different build at some point in the past, and CRP, and they sound pretty nice. So it might just be the build. Some builds just do very well with CRP, and I think this is one of those cases. Yeah. So pretty nice though. Sounds a little cleaner with the CRP. That's the thing. Cherry spacebar. Cherry MX Black or something. I could try that. Do I have an MX Black here? I don't. I need to get one. Flip the bar? No, I'm not flipping the bar. I'm gonna flip the. Just kidding, but I'm not a spacebar flipper. I mean, that's a beautiful keyboard. Lucky one that bought this. This is not a client build. This is just a showcase build for the group buy that's currently about to close. Like it's ending tomorrow. The group buy. Alright, so that's that. I can try getting an MX Black if you want. Give me a sec. Let me just get an MX Black that's lubed. I've only been sold on it with my current build. That's fair. I mean, I would assume that people generally prefer having their own builds, so totally fair. MX Black. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. Let me bring one. Give me a sec. Okay, here I brought an MX Black. Let us try. We can try an MX Black spacebar. Yeah, nice and clean. Definitely doesn't have the sound of the Gap Milky top. Kind of more muted and more subdued. That's for sure. Actually, forgot to maybe try the GMK one. So yeah, that's the other combo. I do still think I prefer the CRP bar on this particular board. I don't know what it is, but I kind of like it better. Kind of sounds very clean to me, but you know, it's personal preference at the end of the day. And I'll go back to the GAT with the CRP. Just a clean sound, but yeah, you know, personal preference. So I do like the CRP sound on this quite a lot, though. I genuinely do. Like if this was given to me like this, I wouldn't mind it. I really wouldn't. Yeah. I think this is a rare occasion when I think CRP is on par with GMK TBH. I think it's definitely like a combo of the board, the build, the plate, all that, all the factors all together. Because it's definitely true that a lot of people tend to not enjoy CRP as much. But yeah, this sounds pretty good. All right, where are we? I usually heavily prefer GMK sound over CRP, but this I really like both. Yeah, I like both too. Yeah, no. I really think CRP on this sounds pretty good. Also, it really depends on just like switches, how you loop them. Like I feel like CRP doesn't go really well with very heavily looped switches. I tend to loop on the lighter side more these days than I used to before. So I think it kind of goes nicely with it. But yeah. And let's see, did I miss anything? This playlist is too good. It's a good playlist. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I think I touched upon everything. Okay. So oh, looks like ads are hitting here. Where do you get CRP? Are there certain vendors that carry it? Right now, does anybody carry in-stock Maybe, oh. Wow. That's a vendor I did not expect to sell some CRP, but apparently, Mechanical Keyboard sells some. Although they have sold out of stuff here and there, but Mechanical Keyboards actually does have some full CRP key sets in stock. Rare. I did not expect that. I'm not sure if if Prototypist still does, but Prototypist did run a few of the CRP sets. I personally would just look on Mech Market as well, though, because Mech Market also, you'll find used sets for cheap, I think. So it would not knock off the idea of getting a used set from somebody else in the aftermarket. So I would check Mech Market too. But yeah, Mechanical Keywords actually sells them. Some. A bunch of them are out of stock, but they technically do have some full sets if you scroll and take a look. Yeah. So yeah, Mech Market, Mechanical Keywords, and I think those are the probably two most valid options here. Okay. So I guess that's pretty much the build, but let me just show you the entirety of the board over here. So that's the Qi65, as you can see here. There's our little thumbnail pic. And then, so let me go ahead and show you the rest of the board. So this is what it looks like. I'm gonna just kind of show you what this looks like up close. So there's our side profile. Kind of, yeah, this look like a little Gundam hoof sort of look here. There's the bottom. Sorry that it's like out of focus, in and out of focus. And then you can kind of take a look from the top view here. This is what the board looks like. It has some nice details though, like that engraving on the bezel is kind of neat. Like there's like nice little touches on this board, like that's the side profile here. Has a very angular profile, right? Like it's just a wedge, but it kind of went past the wedge and added some extra stuff with a mid piece, and I think it's a nice, like it's very subtle, and it's very like this tapers off. Like this actually kind of goes from nothing to like a more deeply engraved line here, sort of like a simulated seam. It's not really a seam, it's actually just like simulated. This is technically not a seam, it's not two parts, it's actually just like a simulated one. And then it's taking advantage of the fact that you have two split like alu bottom pieces to kind of do this, like run this whole thing to the middle, and even this part here is like nicely tapered, which is kind of neat. It's very intentional design, and it's frankly, like, for someone to say that this is their first keyboard design, which is the case for Ryan/Yan Studio, it's really good. It's really nicely done. They clearly iterated through this. They clearly prototyped it, more than a few times, or like just like ran through all the details and just made sure that everything was right. But it's very well done. It's a complete package, and it's pretty heavy. This is like 3 kilos, something like that. I think I saw on the listing. So it's a hefty board as well. So it's quite nice. Definitely, yeah, mecha vibes for sure. And nicely sounding too. Poron gasket. Definitely kind of has that Qi65 inspired design with the way it's assembled, like basically having 3 case, well technically it's 4, but it's 3 really case pieces. It's like a top, a middle section, and a bottom. Interestingly, it uses a middle section that's heavy, so it uses copper, brass, or stainless steel. Has those like acoustic cutouts to sort of like tune out some of the resonances that happen inside of the case. And so like they thought through the fact that the mid piece was gonna be a heavy like metal, and like the fact that you essentially risk having like this very like high pitched or even like kind of like tinny or resonant like sound coming from it, and they accounted for that and designed around it. So it's pretty, I mean, like you can't not compliment that for his design. It's they clearly looked at a lot of other boards and tried something that worked for them, and it's unique actually. It is unique. It actually has its own design language going for it, which is cool. And that's kind of nice. I think this is nice to see from designers. Like overall, like you want something that just kind of speaks to you as a designer, and they just kind of like ran with it, and it's well done. It's pretty well done. So big props to them. If you want to check out the board, it's on 2 different websites I think right now for group buy, but it's on Toro Keebs or Toro Studio and on Uni Keyboards or Uni Keys. And you know, there's different colors. There's raw all the way to anodized green, gray sand, burgundy, dark gray, gray green, and deep purple. You can choose the mid material, like the weight. Hot top solder, plates for $25, PCBs for $25 or $20 even. Gaskets, feeds, and you know, all that extra stuff. Kind of starts around. Let me estimate this. This is around 200, 300. It's about $350 for the base case kit, including PCB, plate, case. Using I think brass is I think the cheapest material from what it looks like. Yeah, brass starts at the 180 and then goes to 240 for sandblasted stainless steel. So, you know, it's like $350 to $400 board. I think given the complexity of the case, it probably warrants that much. So, it's well done. Big props to rkeebs. All right. Let's see. Okay, I guess that's about it. I think that pretty much covers the whole board. So you know, let me know if you have any questions, but otherwise we can start wrapping it up. Welcome the weekend. It's almost 12. It's almost midnight, which means it's almost Friday, which is awesome. I love Friday. Fridays are great. Fridays are fantastic. Yeah. So we can wrap things up here. Let's see. Is there anybody building keyboards? I do not think so. Okay. All right. It can take you to the ducks, or whatever else you might want. Send the It's Friday announcement at 12 a.m. exactly. Okay, I'll do that. I shall do that. Are you dressing up? Oh yes, I actually am. I actually am. You know that Noah did he did like a keycap giveaway on Instagram, right? And like one of the comment or like one of the instructions was to comment like what costume you're gonna do for Halloween or whatever. A friend of ours is they're hosting like a murder mystery party essentially, but it's Great Gatsby themed. And I'm dressing up as one of the characters. I'm dressing up as Tom Buchanan. You know, the jealous guy. if you ever read Great Gatsby. But yeah, they're like recommending to like wear a fancy smancy suit and like I actually bought like like a polo stick, you know, like a croquet stick, you know, like the big one. And like a fedora, like a hat, like a top hat, and like a pocket watch and things like that. It'll be fun. What does that guy even look like? It depends. Interpretation, you know. This is Roaring 20s, big, you know, Jay Gatsby party sort of deal. So kind of fancy, but it could be kind of sporty. He's supposed to be like a polo player, or like he's a big fan of polo and like big fan of sports. It's like this jock kind of dude. I'm not a jock, but whatever. So kind of give that like sporty vibe, I guess. And in the book, at least, he's kind of a dick, but you know, yeah. All right, let's wrap it up, friends. Anyway, this was the Qi65 from Unikeys, and I will see you guys next time. Actually, pretty soon. I did get some contact from Mike from Novel Keys. I will be building the Beetle 60 at some point pretty soon, before the end of that buy. And I should also be building the Wuche Studio Nama early in November, and the Fragment decal from a bunch of numbers. I think that one, the date is currently set to 7th, I think the 7th of November or something like that. And then there's also the Smoke 65 from Sensi, which also looks pretty cool. So, but yeah, happy Hallows Eve to you all. Hope your Halloweens are fun, and your rest of the weekend. But I will catch you guys later, okay? Bye-bye. Good night.